welcome back to the Colour Cave, where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem, and today I have taken a little trip back to the Artful quarterly subscription box from Oh Dear. And yeah, this is the mixed media box. We talked about this. We did an epic unboxing. If you haven't seen that, it was a couple of weeks ago now. I will link it down in the description and also on the end card for you. You can go back and watch us pick through the contents of the box. Fittingly, mixed media box, mixed response from you guys. Some of you felt that Artful are just trying to get rid of some of their surplus art supplies. Not everyone got the same colour of pencils. I've learned that from reading the comments under the last video, so thank you to those of you who took the time to give us your opinion. On the other hand, lots of love for the magazine, and rightly so. Me and my very special copy here with my extra pages. We are going to tackle one of the tutorials today, and much as I'm tickled by cat in a bush, as discussed, I thought the turtle would be a lovely thing to do, and taking some of your advice as well, we are going to add a little bit more colour into this. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm quite excited about this. The other thing that the passage of time has done as well is obviously accidentally, but Upcrate happened to give us a mixed media box as well, and I think they executed it perfectly. And when you see the two of these side by side, there's definitely elements from both boxes that if they'd been swished together would have created like a mixed media superpower box. Like googly eyes and glitter, but also this little zine that we got with all the textures, and I love this. That's great to have in a mixed media box. Okay. The first job that I have is I need to go on a little mission and go and hunt for some cardboard, preferably some cardboard that's got some of this corrugated texture to it. So I'm going to go and have a rummage in the recycling, and I'll be right back. I have some here. So this is ridges. If you look at this end on, this has this corrugated texture that is used here, and we can see it being torn apart here. So hopefully that'll be enough. Let's see what it says here. Tools needed: acrylic paint, masking fluid. I would really like to avoid the masking fluid if possible because it stinks. Mixed media paper, brushes, colouring pencils, rubber, and also obviously cardboard. I'm assuming we're going to need glue as well because this looks like a Pritt Stick type effort here. Acrylic paint, black acrylic paint possibly. Do you know what else I would really like to do? I'd like to introduce a bit more colour. I'd like to mix some sort of green. Mixed media pad, glitter from other mixed media. That glitter from the Upcrate box, you know, where I gave Mist a glittery nose. It is everywhere. I just can't with glitter, I really can't. Okay, so this is the Artful mixed media pad as well. Now the nice thing about the Artful tutorials is they're usually very clear. The steps are nice, but the photographs are also nice and big and clear as well. So if what we're looking for isn't in the actual paragraph, we can look at the pictures and find out. Skill level advanced, time 60 minutes, we'll see. Prepping the shell. Using a pair of sharp scissors. Who is it that's given us this? I want to know who's given it to us. I think, just on a guess, and I'll tell you what gives it away in a minute, I think this might be Jamie that's doing this, as in Big Boss Man, because Jamie has quite delicate fingers and his wedding band is quite delicate as well. Here. I don't know if it definitely is Jamie's hand, but it looks, I might be totally wrong though. I'm sure he does wear rings. I don't know. Not important. Anyway, right, okay, so using a pair of sharp scissors, cut out the shape of the shell from some cardboard from my recycling. To get this as accurate as possible, I held it up to my pencil drawing and kept lifting, cutting until I was happy with the shape. Well, we haven't done a pencil drawing. Okay, so perhaps this doesn't belong there. I feel like some of this is like maybe in the wrong order. We've not mentioned anything about the pencil drawing. Okay, so we are actually going to have to wing this. But that's okay because I'm really good at stuff like that and I'm not scared. Okay, I need to get as much of this done before the sun comes up. Right, go. So here is our paper. So we want to draw a rough outline, I would suppose. So let's get this down. Thankfully, obviously I am relatively well versed in drawing animals. So I don't suppose that this should take me particularly long to get a rough sketch down. Not total. I have drawn a sea turtle before, so I'm roughly aware of the mechanics of the of the body. So let's just make this a sausage for now. I think they're very interesting creatures, turtles. And then they've got there's a name for this bit, because this bit of like skin, not skin, but it's really it's like heavily armoured, basically. Well, to be fair, I mean, they're pretty heavily armoured anyway. Oh, look at his little face. We might have to give him a wee smile, though. I might have to make him into a really happy turtle. And then he's going to have his other wee foot here. Like, rawr. Okay, that's how quickly the sketch can go. Proportions don't matter, because you get big turtles, wee turtles, ones with big shells, one with not so big shells. This is not a big deal. But this lets me do this stage here. Do I want to pull this apart? I do want to put... there's a picture of the pulling apartness here. I can honestly say I've never pulled a bit of this cardboard apart before. Oh, that went well. It doesn't want to pull apart. If I pull it apart, that's what happens. I don't think that. I think that we must have like really low quality. I think we should just use this ridgy side, personally. I would rather make it too big and then have to cut it down. That's what I'm going to do. Right, these were the scissors that I got in the Smart Art box when we did like a massive Christmas haul, and they're amazing. Thank goodness there's not a lot of this. This is exactly the kind of exercise where my hand is actually screaming at me right now. It's like, what the hell do you think you're doing, you absolute moron? Oh, sorry hand. My, what a big shell you have. That's actually almost perfect. The microfluting in the cardboard is a great texture, and something I thought would pair well with the unusual textures of a turtle. I delaminated, ooh, fancy! Delaminated some of the layers to reveal the rippled fluting within the board. Okay, well that didn't work with ours, but that's okay because they're still quite ridgy. I then wanted to get some of the larger portions of shell added, so I cut out 3 pieces and stuck them on top of the main shell with a glue stick. Okay, so we're going to do that first and then stick that to here, I think. Yeah, right, okay, cool. In the demonstration model here, the lines of the cardboard are all facing the same way. I wonder if they'd look weird across the way though. Maybe I should keep them the same and just tilt them at an angle rather than a complete, like, rather than the full 90 degrees. I think that would probably be better. Again, better to go bigger and have to trim down than the opposite. I'm actually really excited about this, see, because it combines drawing animals with like other stuff. Like, I'm actually really excited about this. And it's a really nice change from... Sorry guys, can't talk and cut this eating. I wish Mr. Jem was here to do this. Oh, don't know where my pencil line is. Never mind. Sorry about that, like I just can't, well, with the whole hand thing, like I just can't, it's painful. Right, okay, I'm just going to do this last bit. You can see the sun's starting to come round now and it's kind of putting me in the dark here. I will resume in about an hour when the sun's off in that direction. Oh, I can't say that. When the sun has disappeared in that direction. So let's just get this glued down anyway. Yeah, kind of, I wish Mr. Jem was here to help me with this because... yeah, it's really uncomfortable. Like that's very painful to do this, and it's just the resistance, see, because it's thick cardboard. That's what's exacerbating it. It's not the fact, the cutting motion isn't the full story, is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm really glad we're doing this in the spring though. See, if this box had come in the middle of winter when my hand's really stiff, this just wouldn't be happening right now. Like it would just be an absolute, like, no. So, thankful for small mercies. My hand's been great though, see, just because we are coming into the milder weather, it's not nearly so much of an issue. And to be honest, a lot of the times I kind of forget that, that there is actually a problem there, which is really nice. And it's one of the reasons why I really enjoy sitting outside in the summer and just letting the heat get to my hands, especially first thing when I've been sleeping and I've not been using it all day. Really nice. I don't know, I kind of lost my way a bit here, I think. I'm trying to keep this bottom edge because there's detail to go on here. Sunshine in Scotland, who'd have thunk it? Okay, this is meant to be the middle one. Or was it that? Yeah, that's it. Right, okay, I had it the wrong way round. My bad. I don't want them really rigid and like regimented either. Yeah, okay, I'm really happy with that. Show you in the sunshine, like, ah. So I'm going to stick these down and I'll catch you back up after the sunshine has disappeared. Alright, the sun hasn't moved round, but it's clouded over a bit so I can see what I'm doing again. I have stuck down my my shell pieces here. The last part of that was I then wanted to get some of the larger portions of shell added. So I cut out 3 pieces and stuck them on top of the main shell with a glue stick. That's exactly what I've done there. So we're over the page now, and this is the title of this part is Applying Black Acrylic Washes. Using the black acrylic from the Artful box, I mixed up different concentrations of wash by combining it with water. I have separate pots with different variations in a dark shade and a much lighter wash. I like to keep a spare piece of paper to test the tone before adding it to the final piece. I've always got this little stack of scrap paper here. This is like offcuts from my proper job. It's also the spare bits of paper from the labels for your orders from the stash shop. And when I print them out, the bottom half of the paper often isn't used. So I've always got these to hand, and that's what I'm going to use to test the concentration of the washes to make sure that I'm happy. Using the larger brush, I begin by putting down a larger layer of wash. The great thing about this method is that you can remove the majority of it with tissue. The qualities of the acrylic in this form are like those of watercolour. You can pick up quite a lot of what you put down because of the high water content, meaning you don't have to worry too much if you make a mistake. You can quickly dab it with some tissue. This can also be used to create texture. Okay, so I have mentioned before that I am absolutely drowning in black acrylic paint, so I'm not going to open the Artful one. I'm going to use one of the 6 million tubes that I already have. This one is open and it's the Winsor Newton Galleria acrylic. This is student grade acrylic paint. Nothing special about it, but what we are going to do is we're going to make up a couple of concentrations here with water. So I've got a handy pipette here. I'm going to splodge that in there. Obviously I'm not going to need that much paint, but better to have too much than too little. This will be my stronger concentration. I'll have a medium concentration, and then I'll have a really light, almost see-through concentration. Right, so let's pick a brush, any brush. So we'll just take a wee scoop off the top here. That's still pretty dark. See how it dries. Yeah, see, this is more what I'm thinking. Yeah, okay, so this is going to be my lightest one down the bottom here. It's just a big row of black to you guys. Right, okay, I think I've got what I want now. Yeah, so what we want to do is start with our, well, I don't know which one was actually the smaller brush. I think it was this one. Was it not a number 2 round or something? Did I dream that? Because see, I put them in with the rest of my paintbrushes. Right, okay, so what does it say about the washes? Let's read that part. Using the larger brush began with a layer of wash. Yeah, okay, we did that bit. Okay, I'm just going to have to go for it. But basically this light wash, I am going to place over a large part of our friend here. I want to see how it dries. I might put this all over, but I want to see how light it's going to dry. Whoa, on what I'm going to have is the darker parts. It looks as if it's going to dry really light though. I'm not actually following the tutorial at this point. There's nothing to follow. So I'm basically just winging it. So that looks as if it's not that light. Do you know what? I'm going to put this all over. I've decided I'm going to put it all over. I might leave a little bit of nah, sod it. Oh. So the other thing I wanted to do was use a little bit of green, but I want it to be really muted. Again, I'm not going to open the Artful paints because I have an absolute ton of acrylic paint and it's just not necessary. I'm not wasting stuff. I'll stick them in the stash shop if anybody would like them. They're pretty good because they're big pots. You can use them for much larger projects. So what I would like to do is stick some water in this first of all, because we want this to use it in a wash effect as well. So we'll mix that up. Now obviously that's really bright. It's quite an offensive shade of green that. We don't want it that green. So I'm going to take some of this black wash here. I don't know what's going on in that one. But I'm going to just take a dab of black, stick that in there, and then we're going to mix it up a little bit. Again, test paper, best idea. Yeah, that's drying really pale, that's good. Right, let's see what this looks like. I want more of kind of think of the Graphy Tint pencils, like black with a hint of green in it. Yeah. This, exactly like this. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, happy. They talk about here, if I just turn over the page, just when they were talking about washes, so there's a bit about layering up. With something like a turtle, it's about the detail and it's easier to achieve than you'd think. You just have to keep going back and adding more with different layers of opacity. Swap between your methods of applying the paint. Using your pencil on a wet area will make the graphite appear much darker, which is great for creating really precise detail. Okay, so that's talking about layering, that's this section here, but down here it talks about detail and using different things. There's using a fork there for the actual detail. I'm not at that stage yet, I'm still very much at the let's decide what's the lighter and darker parts. So the likes of here, I just wanted a little bit of colour in there down here. So I don't want this to be like super smooth or anything, but you know, we do want a little bit of variation and things going on there. Maybe he's got this bit comes down here. So we can layer up the, oh, I've gone over his eye, boo. We can layer up the different shades of the black as well here. Okay, lovely. Kind of looks like a sea otter gone wrong at this point. Right, so I'm going to use my darker black now, which... What happened to that? That's so weird. So weird. Oh, lordy. So while this is still damp, so I'm kind of using this like a wet and wet technique like you would do with watercolour. This area where the shell meets the rest of the, you know, the body, I want that to be darker, almost like a shadow colour. Maybe get a bit of that in there. And then add in a little bit more here. So obviously as a person who paints in watercolour occasionally, this part of the process is very nice for me. This is just like painting. But once we get going with the cardboard and stuff, you know, it'll have a bit more of that mixed media feel to it. Gonna give him a little bit more going on this side as well. Like his little, can build this up a little bit more as well. So with the light wash now, see the light wash is barely noticeable, but it was just enough to take away some of the white of the paper, which is kind of what I was after. So I just want to build this up. So you can still see my paintbrush marks from earlier because this is obviously very, very transparent because of how much we've diluted it, which is kind of what we want. I feel this should be really dark under here though, but I just want there like one line and maybe put a little bit of green in there just to define that front arm flipper thing. Okay, I'm going to leave that to dry now because that kind of covers the basics. So let that waft about a bit. We can go in with things like a fork or, you know, there was a little bit of a stick on the go there, and we can put in some of the details, especially around his little eye here. I'm going to have to rescue this a little bit though. I'm going to put his pupil in and we'll leave that to dry as well. I think I lost a chunk of footage there, so I'm just going to show you what I've done in case I have lost it. My memory card just skipped out for some weird reason. While that's drying, I've moved over here, and the paragraph here in the tutorial, shell, yeah, says about using the tools to create a minimalist texture. So that would be in contrast to the detail on the actual turtle itself. So I thought we could paint this while I'm waiting for that to dry. I thought we could paint this. And then we'll stick it down after, rather than sticking it down and painting it, if you see what I'm saying. So I'm just using the paints that I was using before. This is the lighter, the darker wash, and it is drying quite light, but I think that's what we want. Obviously the cardboard is very, very absorbent, so you're going to get a lot more soaking in, so to speak. Kind of just want to do that though, but I feel like it should have maybe a bit more shadow in it, but we might have to add that in, you know, like in there. We can add, you know, we can build this up, make that look a bit more 3D, I think. I don't know, I kind of want to be a bit more free here, but by the same token, I don't want to go crazy. But I'm also thinking to myself as well, what happens if we put this dark green down? Is it going to look green at all? It might. And again, maybe more under here. I don't even know if that looks like a shell. I'm not convinced myself. I feel as if I have to put these lines in a bit better. There we go. How are we doing on the drying front here? We're pretty damp. Okay, so if we take a more concentrated colour now, i.e. less water, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix in a little bit of this green with the black there. Okay, that might be just what I'm looking for. Take a smaller brush now while my shell's drying and start putting in some detail maybe. I always think of turtles as being wrinkly. Like, I don't even know if they are wrinkly, but I just feel like, I don't know, okay? Like, their skin looks as if they're wrinkly. I kind of want his smile to be quite prominent though. Yeah. I really like what's happened here. Like, that's a really good happy accident. But let's darken this down here a little bit. So we're starting to get some definition here and a little bit of interest going. And this is working really well as like a neutral sort of shadow colour, but not too shadowy. That's That's my excuse I'm sticking to. That was so technical, I know. Maybe just take a little bit of a line of black down here, because I haven't really defined these claw sections, so we're just going to make a suggestion of them rather than, like, yes, these are my front flippers. Look at me roar. This paint is splitting in the weirdest way. Whoa, there goes my hand. So I was saying earlier about my hand spasming. Oh no. Okay, that's not the end of the world actually, apart from here. We can totally fix this, it's fine. See, we'll just make it part of his toes. It's fine, not a problem. I used to get really panicky when that happened. It's a bit embarrassing if you're like in a restaurant, because in more recent years I have started dropping my cutlery, and when you're in a restaurant it's quite embarrassing, because obviously it like clatters off your plate and hits the floor, and everyone just thinks you're a bit special or you've had too much to drink, you know. But it's just one of those things that I don't let it bother me anymore. It's like, yeah, it happens sometimes. The first time it happened at home, and the words out my mouth were, well, that's never happened before. And everybody just kind of moved on. My mum and dad were here as well. It's weird that sticks out in my head. No one batted an eyelid though, obviously. Right, there we go. So let's stick his shell on now. See where that's going to sit. I think I kind of want it about there, because I want his tail. Oh, I forgot to finish off his tail. Oh man, he's only got half a tail. There we go. A little skinny tail. Okay, so we want to stick him down like there. Does that look okay? Oh, that needs to be up at this end a bit more. There. This way. Yeah. Like there? Was that where I had it? Yeah, I just wanted a bit of clearance from his tail. One of the things that's kind of interesting about this is they have this marked as an advanced tutorial. I think it's been, I might be completely wrong here, I'm just making this up as I go along. But I just feel like it's been marked as an advanced tutorial because of the lack of steps rather than how difficult the execution is. And this is more a description of how this person that might or might not be Jamie has put this together. It's not really instructional, so to speak. So I wanted to read you the little paragraph here on detail. Using the round brush with a point, I began to add some of the texture on the turtle's skin. I wanted to play around with some unusual ways of putting down paint, so I used part of a stick from some dried flowers to scribe marks into the piece. Using something different to the brush allows a lot more variance and appearance of the line. Again, I test the outcome before committing it to the final piece. So I just wanted to point that out, because see there's like bits about the fork and stuff there as well, which is really nice. Finishing touches. Now the shell is on. Ta-da! Little shell. I went back and added some more depth under it so it looked grounded. Yeah, see, that was kind of what I was feeling here, but that's totally going to apply to where the shell meets the body as well, yeah. I achieved this by running the darker tone under it with a brush. Using the fine point of the round brush, I added some outlines and small details like its mouth line. I've already done that. Then to ground it, I applied a light wash under its body and then removed elements of it with a tissue. What if he's swimming in the water, Lord, and he's not going to have anything to rest on? That is the end of the tutorial, so you can see what I mean and why I think that's, it's been framed the way it's been framed, if you like. It's not a problem, it's not an issue. It was just something that I wanted to point out. I suppose what I'm trying to say is, if you don't feel like you might be advanced enough to tackle some of the advanced projects, maybe you are. You just need to be a little bit more observational, or maybe you're just not the type of person to follow stuff like that unless it tells you absolutely to the letter. I'm kind of like that with some things, not with painting, but if I'm doing something on the computer, and especially if I feel like I don't know what I'm doing and I'm out my depth, I like to be literally handheld through things. I won't sit and try and figure out how to do it, just in case I break something, basically. But when it comes to painting, drawing techniques, anything like that, I'm like, I'm not scared, whatever. I've just added a bit of, not neat black, but very, very slightly diluted black. That looks much better. Yeah, I think I just want to use the pencil now. A 4H, not great for this, to be fair. But, that's what came in the box. She says after not using the paint that came in the box. Light wash to ground it. Again, I'm not really sure whether I actually want this to happen or not, whether I want this to be a thing, but we'll stick it in anyway. Just like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. Like, if I'm going to do that, then it really needs to be around these. Right, okay, where is my brain today? I was going to say antlers there. I don't know how antlers pertain to this in any way, shape or form, but apparently they do. Yeah, I'm really bad for that. See, because I'm tired as well, just jock sitting, I'm coming out really stupid stuff, but that's pretty good, like antlers. That's a new one. Maybe secretly I'm thinking, how can I do a mixed media project as it like with a deer? Giving him his iris. I put his pupil in earlier, but I never gave him an iris. Oh, there we go. I think that's probably about as good as it's going to get. Okay, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to call this done. In terms of the project itself, I've had a really good time. I've enjoyed myself immensely. We were told to get out masking fluid and coloured pencils. I have used none of those, but I'm going to take this emerald pencil and I'm going to add in some details here with this particular pencil. So it's weird. I don't know where the masking fluid was supposed to come into play. I would imagine in the eye area and to preserve some of these slippers, but it wasn't actually talked about. So I don't know how I feel about that, because as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't really a tutorial. It was more of, this is me doing this and here's kind of how I got there and you can fill in the blanks. But again, that might be why it's been put as an advanced tutorial. So kind of mixed feelings in terms of an actual tutorial, but the project itself, great fun, and say the ability to add stuff like this. And I just wanted to hurry up and dry so that I can do this in pencil. And apart from my paintbrush drop as well, but that's not the end of the world. Like, we'll just sign this at the bottom while we're here. Yeah. That's a really pretty colour as well. Like, that's going to look really nice under his chinny chin. Yeah, look. That's cheesed me off. How long have I taken to try and get these pencils to sharpen? And they've been sitting in exactly the same spot since I unboxed this box like weeks ago. Okay, let's see if we can rescue this. This keeps happening. I think I'm finished and I start on like my end of video spiel and then I'm stupid enough and just can't let it go. Pick things up and keep going, and then stuff like this happens. Like, why did I do this to myself, guys? Oh, that's right, so that you don't have to. Anyway, I would love to know your thoughts on this project. If anybody has tried any of the other tutorials, I would quite like to hear about that too, just to see how you found them and whether you had fun or not, and it produced or yielded the, the results that you were looking for. I haven't mentioned this for a while, but it's something I really, really enjoy is reading the comments section, especially if there's a bit of dialogue going. And I mean, come on now, some of you have known each other for freaking years. Like 5 years we've been doing this, so please feel free to open your mouth and let your guts rumble in the comments, and let's have a little talk about these Artful tutorials. Right, that is it. That is me. I am done. Quite pleased with this outcome, not going to lie. Probably going to put them on the wall for a little while or stick them to the fridge or something. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. All in all, a really good box from Artful. I know that feeling some of you felt about them trying to get rid of supplies and stuff. But the fact that they are basically adding to your arsenal, but particularly if you're not a subscriber and you've been picking boxes up here and there, this is a really nice box to get a feel for the quality of the Artful supplies, and I think it does a pretty good job of that too. And the projects in here are very, very varied indeed. Like this one, like the collage type stuff, looks like really good fun. My poor hand doesn't like the cutty outy part of that, but definitely worthwhile. So all good, thumbs up from the cave. And we shall see you back in the cave at some point during the week. I do have a colouring video going up. I don't know when I'm going to put it up yet, because jock. But there will be a second video this coming week. And then I'll see you back here on Sunday for the scheduled video. So have a great day, everyone. And bye-bye for now.